Hey guys, Jonathan here, and I'm very excited to show you the LEGO UCS TIE Interceptor. This is the May 1st release for this year, and it is really exciting. Needless to say, this thing is absolutely huge, and I'm very grateful to the LEGO group who sent me this to review, but of course all thoughts are my own. Now, this set has 1,931 pieces with it, and comes with an exclusive TIE Pilot minifigure. Of course, that makes sense, and overall, it's a very big build. I do want to give you some quick thoughts up front. The build itself is very repetitive because, I mean, if you take a look at the wings, you're basically building this part twice, and these builds of the wings are not exactly identical, but they are very similar in the build structure and the way that you actually build the set, so it is quite repetitive, especially as you're building stuff mirrored. You do start in the center, of course, and you kind of work your way outward symmetrically, and we'll take a closer look at everything, but my overall thoughts on the set, just to get started, is that it is a really nice model. It displays great. It's absolutely massive too, especially with the size. The wingspan is insane. It's about 13 inches tall while standing on the stand, basically from the ground up, and it's about 16 inches from the back to the front gun. So this thing is absolutely massive. And like I said, just shy of 2,000 pieces. It definitely commands some attention. I think it's going to be a little bit difficult for people to find shelf space for, just because it's so tall and the wings are so big. It's definitely going to be on top shelves, I'd imagine, so that you don't have another shelf taking up space. But overall, I really like it. I do think it's cool, but it's not without flaws. That repetitiveness in the build, there's really no way around it just because of the model that it's trying to depict, but it did get a little bit boring, so I had to break this build up over a couple different days, but I do think that that's cool. I think that the price is pretty high on this one too. These rarely go on significant sales, but if you could wait for any kind of sale, I think that that would help with the price. And of course, just having one exclusive minifig here does kind of hurt, especially when it's a kind of generic minifig to start. It's definitely the minifig that needs to come with it, don't get me wrong, but it might have been cool to get like an official Imperial officer, like a named officer we've never gotten before or something, rather than just the Death Star droid. But that being said, that's my overview, and now we'll take a closer look at all the details. Now, one thing about these UCS sets is that the booklets always have very cool liner notes on the inside. We're not going to take the whole time to look at these, but if you want to pause and read any of this, you certainly can. You know, usually it's just the history of the ship, and then they talk about the design process of the ship as well. So there's the original one from, looks like 2000 or so, and really cool. Like I said, you could pause this and read if you want, but we're about to get into the official instructions now. Talks about how you should pick up the set if you're going to transport it, and we've got a sneak peek at the Ultimate Insider's Guide LEGO Star Wars book coming out in July, so that should be a pretty interesting read when it comes out, and that brings us to the build, so let's take a look at it now. So right up front, we have the display card, which is a giant road plate, and interestingly enough, it's actually printed instead of a sticker, so it does look really good printed, and I like that a lot. Of course, you can pause and read all of the different specs if you'd like. Then that, of course, brings us to our minifigs, well, minifig, if you can call it that. Over on the right side, we do have a very nice printed piece here, the 25 years of LEGO Star Wars, which looks pretty good. Then, right next to that, we've got the little Death Star droid here, little mouse droid thing going on. It's completely brick-built, and it's not made up of any exclusive parts or pieces or anything like this, but to my knowledge, this is the first time this build has been in a Star Wars set, making it exclusive, although you could probably build this out of spare parts in your collection now. Then, of course, that brings us to the TIE Pilot. This is exclusive because of the legs as well as the arm prints, which do look really good, but I really wish that we had gotten another minifigure other than just this one. If you lift it up, you could see we get that standard head that's come on a lot of generic Star Wars characters over the years. The helmet does look good. It's an awesome minifig, don't get me wrong, I really don't have a single complaint about it. It's just, I wish we could have gotten an additional one instead of the Death Star mouse droid, because, well, I just think it would be cool to get, like, the, you know, Yularen minifig, or, I'm not saying Yularen should have come in this, but just something like that, like the Venator, just a character that we might not get otherwise, would have been really cool to add to this, but it is what it is, and it's not really the end of the world. I'm just saying, you know, if they had called me and said, Jonathan, what should we do? That would have been my suggestion. Now, like all UCS builds before it, we do get a stand with this one, which is really nice. You can see these Technic supports there work like that and hold it up. Then we've got a little square peg, which the bottom of the ship has a square hole. So you just put it into place like that, and it can support the weight really, really well. It actually is very, very sturdy and definitely Jonathan approved. Now that brings us to the center of the ship. Now, as I mentioned, it is very symmetrical when the build is taking place, so you do have a lot of repetitiveness going on. There's really no way to avoid that with a build like this because it has to be that way, but I had to break up the build over maybe 2 or 3 days just to, give my mind a little rest between, but it is a very fun build nonetheless. So let's go ahead and spin it all the way around back so we can take a look at the details on the back here as well. As you can see, the back actually has a lot going on here where we have kind of the engine there. Lift it out so you can see it's just black on the center of the engine there. And we also have a lot of Technic around here adding extra detail. The video game controllers, I'm kind of on the fence. It adds good texture, but they very much look like video game controllers, and that's kind of hard to escape. That being said, when we tip it up, you can see that we've got a printed piece here that goes on the top of the cockpit, which we can open up to see a seat on the inside. I'm going to change the angle, but it was just convenient here to show you that. Plus, you can kind of see the way that we build this circular dome, and I really like the way that that looks, and it's pretty fun to put together to see the ingenious design of the Lego set. Now, it is a little bit on the tricky side to see inside just because it's so tight and compact, but as you can see, there are a lot of stickers in there, and it's interesting the way that they're angled, like on these triangle pieces on the walls, and then those triangle clips in the bottom. Like I said, I understand it's very difficult to see. There's really no way around it, folks, unfortunately. You can't really see in all that well. The front piece here isn't really meant to come off, but we'll take it off just so you can see what I'm talking about with these triangle pieces there that kind of hold up those computer screens. So when we come around here, you can see those triangles right above the triggers. And again, it is very difficult to see, but it is fun to put together. I could definitely attest to that. It's just not a very easy model to see in and around, unfortunately. And the last thing to talk about are the wings. Now, both wings are pretty symmetrical overall, so we'll just take a look at one side and you can use your imagination for the other side, but it is very interesting how they're built. So basically, you build this section here, then you build this section, then you build the wings, but you alternate on sides so that the weight proportion is pretty, symmetrical as you go along. But I do think they did a really nice job, especially when you look at the original one from the 2000s with the big gaps that were right here. This one is really, really nice by comparison. It's a very streamlined through build. On the inside, there are actually some different colors that kind of help you with keeping your place and all that, which is really nice, but they get completely covered up when it's all said and done. The contouring of the wings is absolutely gorgeous too, especially with these hinge pieces in the corners that really just get you a full radius there. Then, of course, on the inside, it's a little tricky to see. Well, I guess you can't really see it from this angle, so let me zoom out and get another angle to show you the inside of the wings. All right, there we go. As you can see, on the inside of the wings, they put a lot of very, very intricate detail in there as far as like these hinge pieces, and then just all kinds of neat little pieces that are sort of like studs facing you greebling. I don't know if that's a term or not, but that's the best way I would describe it, and it looks really, really awesome when it's all said and done. All right, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like I said, I do love this ship a lot. I think it displays really great. It's just a little bit high on the price side, and I wish we could have gotten another minifig other than just the TIE Pilot, although the one minifig we did get makes total sense. That being said, I do think it's worth it, but if you can wait for a sale, that's the mantra I keep singing here. It's just a little too pricey for my personal taste, but let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thanks again to LEGO for sending this my way. Be sure to let me know what you think down below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.